You never know when a moment will rewrite your whole life. For Daniel Harris, that moment began with the sound of waves and a desperate cry for help. It was supposed to be a simple Sunday. The kind of day Daniel lived for, a day with his 7-year-old daughter, Emily, building sandcastles on Clearwater Beach. Life hadn't been easy since his wife passed away 3 years ago. Between juggling 2 jobs, late-night shifts, and trying to be both mom and dad, Daniel often felt like he was barely keeping his head above water. But that day, with the sun glinting off the ocean and Emily laughing in her tiny swimsuit, he felt okay. Then everything changed. A crowd had formed near the waterline. Shouting. Panic. Someone was pulling a woman out of the waves, unconscious, pale, lifeless. Daniel didn't hesitate. He told Emily to stay put and ran. When he reached her, lifeguards were nowhere in sight. The woman wasn't breathing. Daniel dropped to his knees, pressing his palms together, and started CPR. 1, 2, 3, he counted silently, forcing air into her lungs. People around were filming, murmuring. But Daniel didn't care about that, he just wanted her to breathe again. And then, she did. She gasped, choking on air and seawater, her chest heaving violently. Daniel turned her gently to her side, speaking softly, "It's okay, you're safe now." Her eyes fluttered open, deep green, dazed, and frightened. What happened?" she whispered. "You almost drowned," Daniel said, relieved. "You're okay now." Before she could respond, a sleek black SUV screeched to a stop on the boardwalk. 2 men in suits jumped out, rushing toward her. The way they spoke to her, "Ms. Lennox, thank God you're all right," made Daniel step back. He had no idea who she was. But everyone else seemed to. That night, while tucking Emily into bed, Daniel couldn't shake her face from his mind, that moment when her eyes met his. The way she looked, lost. Vulnerable. Human. He didn't know that the woman he saved, Olivia Lennox, was one of the most powerful billionaires in the country. CEO of Lennox Global, a woman used to commanding boardrooms, not being rescued by strangers. And he didn't know that her first call that night wasn't to a doctor. It was to him. 2 days later, Daniel was back at his mechanic shop, sweat on his brow, grease on his hands, fixing a broken-down SUV that reminded him of his own life, always in need of patchwork. He barely noticed the silver Rolls-Royce that pulled up outside until Emily tugged on his sleeve, whispering, "Daddy, look." Out stepped her. Olivia Lennox. Elegant, confident, and completely out of place among the smell of oil and rubber. Her green eyes scanned the workshop until they landed on him. "Mr. Harris," she said softly. Daniel straightened up, wiping his hands nervously on a rag. "That's me. Miss Lennox, right?" She smiled, the kind of smile that seemed too rare on her face. "You saved my life. I wanted to thank you properly." She handed him an envelope. Inside was a check, more money than he'd make in a year. Daniel froze. "I can't take this." "Why not?" she asked, genuinely confused. "Because I didn't do it for money. You were in trouble. Anyone would have done the same." For a moment, she looked away. "Not everyone would have, Mr. Harris." That was the beginning of something neither of them expected. Olivia began visiting his shop, first to thank him, then just to talk. She'd bring Emily small gifts, or take her for ice cream while Daniel worked. Over time, the woman who had everything found herself drawn to the man who had nothing except heart. But their worlds couldn't have been more different. One night, Olivia confessed, "I've spent my whole life building things. Companies. Empires. But I've never built something that felt real." Daniel looked at her, his hands still stained from a day's labor. "Maybe real things don't need to be built," he said quietly. "They just need to be found." They started seeing each other, cautiously at first. A billionaire and a single dad from a small town. It didn't make sense. The tabloids went wild when photos of them together surfaced. Her board questioned her judgment. His friends told him she'd never understand his life. And maybe they were right. because soon, pressure started building on Olivia. Her investors demanded she end the distraction. They even offered Daniel money, a sickening bribe to walk away. He refused. "I don't care about her money," he told one of the men. "I care about her heart. The one she almost lost that day on the beach." When Olivia found out what he'd done, she broke down. Not because of what they said, but because for once, someone chose her, not her wealth, not her power, her. A few weeks later, Olivia sold her company shares and disappeared from the headlines. The world speculated, but Daniel didn't care about gossip. He only cared that one evening, as he and Emily watched the sunset again, a familiar voice behind him said, "Room for one more?" Olivia stood there, barefoot in the sand, smiling. No designer dress, no bodyguards, just her. Daniel smiled back. "Always." She took his hand, and Emily ran to her, squealing, "Miss Olivia." The three of them stood together as the waves rolled in, the same waves that once tried to take her away, now bringing her back. As the sun dipped below the horizon, Daniel whispered, "Funny how life works. You saved me that day too, you know." Olivia looked up at him, puzzled. "How?" He smiled softly. "I'd forgotten what it felt like to believe again." The narrator's voice fades in as the camera pans out over the golden sea. Sometimes love finds you when you're just trying to save someone else's life. And sometimes, the richest hearts belong to those who have the least to give, but give it all anyway.